Hey, Luke here at thecatsandcarp.com, and welcome to my fishing reel autopsy here. So my Okuma Trios here is it's not doing good. Ugh. You can feel it. It's that the gears slip. You hear that? Ooh. So the gears slip, and when you reel it, it's like hard, easy, hard, easy, hard, easy. And it's yeah. I've lost several reels this way, and it gets that little clicking noise when you're fighting a fish, and then it gets worse and worse, and it gets hard to spin, and just kind of goes down from there. So we're going to tear this bad boy apart and see what's the damage looks like on the inside, to kind of see what's inside this reel. And I'm going to salvage what parts I can. Okay, this little autopsy is a great review of how spinning reels work. The vast majority of spinning reels are designed the same way, and only mine's just a whole lot dirtier. As you can see, it's got so much grime in there. But the drag washers and the drag system is inside the spool. Now, I'm not going to take apart the spool because I like to have a spare spool, and that's a spare part I want to keep intact. But then they have this little screw that keeps the nut from twisting, the nut around the main shaft. And on these Okumas, they're a reverse thread, so it's lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. It's kind of weird. But the hardest part about this is you need a socket that's deep enough to be able to reach that nut, and you can adjust it a little bit by turning the handle. But anyway, once you get that nut off, you can take a series of 3 washers and just slide them right off the main shaft, and then take that nut off, and that's what keeps the head or the rotor attached to the reel. And so that just slides right off once you get all those nuts and washers off. And then you have this plate that's connected with 3 screws that pops off, and then you've got the ball bearings underneath. And this is kind of where the ball bearings and the anti-reverse system all fit in. And at this point, I'm going to take the reel handle off. It just comes off with that little nut on the side. And you can see here what the body of the Okuma looks like. And it's got these weird little hex nuts instead of a Phillips head. So I actually had to run down to Lowe's and buy a hex key there, or a hex wrench, just for this. Just super annoying. But it came out pretty easy, and this kind of carbon fibers plastic cover on the reel comes out. And this really surprised me. This is all metal parts, because just the way it felt, when it was breaking, I figured there'd be some plastic parts, but no, this is all these gears are nice solid metal. I think it's probably like aluminum or something, but they're actually pretty darn strong. And there's this little sheathing on the anti-reverse switch, and see that little spring? That's the spring that activates and deactivates the anti-reverse mechanism on your reel. If your anti-reverse system goes out, 9 times out of 10 that little spring is broke or come unhooked. And a lot of times you can just open up the reel and reattach the spring, and it works. But at any rate, I was able to pop up the head and take the ball bearing system out, and the ball bearing casing, and all the little cylindrical ball bearings come flying out of this thing and just fall out. So if you're taking apart a reel to repair it, be very gentle. Like the way I'm doing this is terrible. These pieces are not going back in. You want to keep everything in nice, neat orders. But if you start ripping crap out like I did just there, the ball bearings go flying everywhere, and it's a pain to get them all back in. You got to pack them with grease to keep them from falling out. At any rate, that's that main gear right there, and underneath it, there's all these metal shavings. You can see metal shavings all over, and I know it's probably these teeth. Oh, and here's another ball bearing on the main shaft, but those teeth look like they're in really good shape. Some of the shavings were silver colored, so I figured they'd come off this gear, but it looks pretty good. However, as I pull out the the main shaft pinion gear, you can see brass shavings everywhere, and the only brass gear is that main pinion gear, and you can see it is just beat to trash. There's lots of really large brass shavings in there, and there's spots where the teeth have been broken off. And you can see here, look at this. That's a piece of brass. That's just the tip of the teeth. It's busted off, and it's just in there. And that's both what's making it skip and what's making it hard to turn the handle. Those chunks of gear teeth are missing, and so the gears are slipping, and then those chunks are getting wedged in the gears, and that's making it hard to turn the handles. But you can see I'm just finding piece after piece of brass shavings in there. I probably found a good 12, 15 large chunks and lots of little filings, and it was just trashed. I was really surprised at the materials inside this reel. I was convinced that I was going to find some plastic parts in the gears, and nope, this is brass shavings, man. That's what failed. It wasn't no plastic part. This was metal on metal being destroyed. It's a lot of stress being put on this reel. As a side note, all the gears in the reel here have to be synchronized together. So when you put them back together, they have to go in a very specific orientation, or the reel won't turn, the handle won't turn, and the gears will just seize up. So heads up. But anyway, I wanted to remove the main shaft and the brass pinion out of the reel, so undid this little part on the end, and out it comes, and get a really good look at it. Man, it was just beat up. All the teeth, the tips of the teeth were all broken off, and there was chunks of brass kind of hanging on by a thread. It was really, really trashed. Oh, all those 2 years of reeling in massive 40-pound catfish had taken its toll. I'd really been beaten up. You can see here, that's how the teeth fit together, and it's a very precise connection, and when those teeth start to fail, it just slips. And when little bits of metal get in between those teeth, it makes it really hard. But there's a little piece of plastic in there too. I'm not sure where that's from. Once your reel develops this problem, it goes downhill really quickly, because once one tooth in the gear breaks, it puts more pressure on the remaining teeth, which causes them to break faster, which puts more pressure, it causes them to break faster, and it just goes downhill quickly. So at any rate, I was kind of having a bad attitude, because I had 3 of these Okuma reels fail in the last couple months, and so I bought them all at the same time, and they're all starting to fail at the same time. So it's kind of irritated and thinking, man, this is crappy materials or crappy build quality. But I pull this thing apart, it looks pretty darn good, and it's so lightweight too. It's such a strong, lightweight reel. But it's so dirty inside. There's bits of metal shavings and grit and sand and grease. I've been really hard on these reels. All right, there you have it. That's what's inside an Okuma Trios 55S. That's my fishing reel. So I am going to keep this for spare parts. Never know when you need an extra spool or a reel, or one of these gears will break. Or loose ball bearings. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click subscribe.